Welcome to RSA Conference 2024. We're here recording live from Broadcast Alley in Moscone West. This interview is sponsored by Tenchi Security. I'm your host, Adrian Sanabria, and joining me today for this interview is Alexandre Sieira, co-founder and CTO at Tenchi Security.
Hello.
How you doing, Alex?
I'm fine. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. A lot of fun. So today we're talking about third-party cyber risk management.
Yes.
It's a bit of a mouthful. I think most people are familiar with the term third-party risk management.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got the C in there, right?
Yes.
So maybe talk a little bit about why we do that, why we add the C.
Because TPRM is a broader discipline when we're talking about maybe evaluating the finances and maybe legal requirements or other kinds of compliance requirements around your third parties. The thing that we particularly are interested in at Tenchi is looking at the cybersecurity aspects. The fact that it's long been known that it's not enough for each company to look at its own environments, its own networks, applications, endpoints to ensure they are secure, because no company is an island. Everyone has critical third parties. And that might be vendors, but that also might be sales channels. That might be critical business partners. There might be companies they invested in. Where the scenario is, if there's a security breach at one of those other companies around the main company, that is the first party, they are co-liable or they suffer operational consequences. If you have a critical third party that is supporting your sales, it's a sales channel, like your insurance company and they are an insurance broker, and they go, they're unavailable because they suffered a breach, you stop selling. If they leak PII, you might be liable because of privacy legislation or whatever regulators you have. And so it's not enough for you to look at your own security, and that's why third-party cyber risk management has been important. And if you've been following up the news, and I know you have, professionally, like Change Healthcare, they provide services to how many healthcare companies around the country? They had a security incident. Look at the impact it's had on how many different healthcare providers.
Right. Yeah, like Kaseya was a big one too, right?
Yes.
That was one where companies were impacted that didn't, because not their third parties were using Kaseya, but their third parties were using Kaseya. So they're impacted two levels deep into the down that supply chain rabbit hole.
Which is actually one of the reasons why I hate the term third-party cyber risk management, because it's third parties all the way down. Like your third parties have third parties, and they themselves are like this third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh parties. But nth party risk management doesn't roll off the tongue as well, right? So,
and you have cases too where two companies are each other's third party, but for different services.
Yes, we actually have quite a few of those on our platform. We have a big bank and a big insurance company that, the bank sells insurance to their bank account holders, and the insurance company uses that bank to get loans, etc. So they're each other's third parties.
So there's obviously a big incentive for them to monitor each other, right?
It is.
That big investment in each other's security.
Yeah.
And the other point I wanted to make is that often we don't remember the names of the third parties, especially if it's a smaller third party and there's a breach. We just remember, that big name had a breach. Because I study breaches, I remember the name of the contractor that resulted in the target breach.
Yes.
But a lot of people don't remember Fazio Mechanical, I think it was. Not a very memorable name. But
which actually brings me to an interesting point about one of the failures we have as an industry. I feel like a lot of people have just given up on third-party cyber risk management.
Yeah.
When you talk about risk management as a discipline, there are a few things you can do. You can ignore risk. Don't recommend that approach, but it's an option. You can accept risk, you can transfer risk, or you can mitigate risk, right? And a lot of companies have decided that it's not possible or viable to mitigate risk when we talk about TPCRM. Basically what everyone and their dog is doing right now in third-party cyber risk management, like the gold standard, the minimum they're doing is sending self-assessment questionnaires.
Spreadsheets.
Right. Or maybe there's a glorified web interface that is, competing with Excel. Every security product, at some point competes with Excel.
Spreadsheet,
Yes. And if you think about it, like self-assessment questionnaires, they're a faith-based security control.
Faith-based, indeed.
You need to have faith that the person answering the questionnaire, A, knows the right answers, and B, wants to tell you the right answers.
Yeah.
The only scenario where a self-assessment questionnaire helps you find and mitigate risk is if you're thinking like, hey, I'm a large bank, and my vendor is going to answer the questionnaire to say, hey, Mr. Bank, my security sucks. Please do business with me anyways.
Yeah.
That's what you have to believe will happen for this to mitigate risk. If you think about it, and most people either haven't thought or don't want to admit it, that's a risk transfer control.
Yeah.
What you're doing is, if and when an incident occurs, the vendor lied to me, or the third party lied to me, I'm going to sue them and recoup my losses. Good luck with that. Going back to your Target example, I mean, how much money did Target lose?
Right.
Just money. I'm not even talking about brand or goodwill.
Yeah,
or
100 million thereabouts. Yeah.
How many times over would they have had to sell Fazio Mechanical?
Right.
To even start recouping?
You can't squeeze 100 million out of, somebody fixing AC, equipment.
That's insane, right? So I think the market has gone like on autopilot on this and stopped thinking about it. Depending on which statistic you look at.
Or have turned to cyber insurance to shore it up, right?
And
but even that has limits.
And actually, there was a figure from Resilience from Q2 of last year that at least in Q2 of last year, the most common reason why people executed the cybersecurity insurance policies was because of a breach at a vendor, not on their own infrastructure.
Yeah, I saw that. I did see that.
And they were impacted, and so they had to execute their cyber insurance policies to recover from a breach where the vendor was relevant. The World Economic Forum Cybersecurity Outlook report for this year mentions that 41% of companies that had a material impact from a cybersecurity incident, that came from a third party.
Wow.
And to be frank, I think that's underestimated because they didn't measure actual impact. It was a survey. So you're getting people's perceptions. And here's why I think this is underestimated. The same data shows that 64% of companies that believe they meet their resilience requirements simultaneously believe they don't have enough visibility of the security of their third parties.
Wow.
So either they're fully integrated and have no critical third parties, or there's a people have given up. There's a visibility gap, like there's a blind spot for TPCRM, right? And so something needs to change, and we have a few ideas on how to do it.
Before we get to that, it's an interesting point that the basis for trust in the relationship is something where you have to blindly trust that they answered the questions in the questionnaire truthfully.
Yes.
Right? So I mean, it's the basis for trust isn't much of a basis at all. So give us some hope. What's a better way of doing this?
So
for people who have given up.
So let's say that in a better way. The economic incentive is working against people being honest. Some people will be honest. Most humans are honest, but when their money is on the line and they want to close deals, that's not going to happen. What's going to happen? So here's what we thought about. There was the whole thing is designed. So cybersecurity hates being called a department of no.
Yeah.
But the way we've designed third-party cyber risk management processes has always been like a point-in-time assessment or audit, right? Which essentially means a business team wanted to do something. They wanted to launch a project or a product, right? That's going to have some benefit to the company. It's going to increase revenue, reduce costs, whatever it is. They work for months to get budget. They develop a trial. They choose a vendor. They design this thing. They get it approved. They write an RFP. They publish the RFP. They choose finalists. Procurement squeezes, the bejesus out of them. Yeah. And then finally, when everything's done, and at that point, that project launch is way late because, bureaucracy. Right. Then information security come waltzing in and say,
yeah, pull the handbrake, right?
But maybe I have to say no here because I'm going to assess if this company you want to work with is secure enough for our needs. Yeah. And so that's really confrontational, including with the business
and
units.
Disruptive
to the business. And so who's going to get overruled? The business
the security guy.
Or security?
Yeah.
So what we thought was...
We'll put in some extra monitoring, right? Maybe?
And so I think the first thing that needs to happen is this process needs to move away from that point-in-time audit mindset. I think if we're honest, what we have to do is if you're a large bank, if you're a large insurance company, If you only accept to work with third parties that are as mature as you are in security, you're going to have to say no 98% of the time, and that's untenable.
Yeah.
So what is the alternative? You work with your third party to improve their security. So we built the whole idea of what we do based around that.
Yeah.
And the precedent for this is if you look at how a company like Nestle works or Toyota.
Yeah.
Like Toyota assembles cars, right? They don't manufacture all the parts. They have this network of vendors that are supplying the parts.
Yeah, yeah.
And they invest heavily in making sure those companies have good logistics, that they have good quality. Why? Because they want to donate their money to the shareholders of their suppliers? No, because it's essential for their success.
Like we saw with the chip shortage. Very disruptive.
Exactly.
Had these fully completed vehicles, millions of them, that were missing one thing.
So why is it that Toyota invests in the quality and the logistics of a company that makes, I don't know, the rear view mirror of the Corolla,
Right.
but a bank doesn't invest in the company doing the authentication of their users on their mobile banking app?
Yeah, I mean, mutual benefit there for both of them.
And so we built this idea of a TPCRM product that is what we call the 3 C's. It's cooperative, continuous, and comprehensive. Mm-hmm. So the idea is the third party is not being audited.
Right.
We're coming in on behalf of the first party to help the third party.
Right.
We're bringing in a set of tools and support from security professionals to help that third party identify and resolve security issues throughout the lifetime of the contract. And that changes everything, because even the best security products that you have for TPCRM right now, they are super restricted on what they can do because they're working behind the third party's backs without their knowledge or consent.
Right.
So for example, they're super limited in just looking at the external attack surface. We are working with third parties, and we are not only working with the external attack surface and mapping it correctly, we're not getting the attribution wrong because the third party themselves are telling us what their external attack surface is. But we can see cloud environments, YAS, PAS, and SAS. And that's a huge difference. You don't ask them on a questionnaire if they use 2FA. You check every single user on their Azure AD or Google directory every day. Moreover, we work with the third parties to help them address those issues. The figure I love the most about the results we've been getting is that on the first 4 to 8 weeks that a third party starts working with us on this new, different approach of daily testing, regular conversations, and helping them address things, 4 to 8 weeks, they solve, on average, 81% of critical and high severity findings.
Wow.
External attack surface, YAS, PAS, and SAS.
Which covers a lot.
It covers encryption. It covers logging. It covers IAM. All disciplines that a security scoring tool doesn't see, that a questionnaire won't let you check. Right? It's real security risk reduction is what we're offering. It's another tool in the toolbox of the TPCRM folks.
Well, even better than that, like that you mentioned consent, that this really is a two-way process. This isn't, hey, I looked at your stuff behind your back, and now we're going to beat you up over it. It's, I'm the first party. I need you to be more secure so that you don't cause me problems.
Yes.
But then you as the third party, you benefit because now you're demonstrably more secure.
Yes.
Which should help you sell. Because again, anybody buying your services, any more confidence you can give them that, hey, I've been through this process. This big bank had me go through this process, and we fixed so much stuff.
Yes.
That's a great deal closer for those third parties.
And it makes the process smoother. Everyone that does TPCRM will tell you that third parties will fight you every step of the way. They will try to avoid the process. They will try to team up with the business teams to get security overruled. They will delay answering things to increase the pressure on security, to provide a response. They will question the findings. It's a nightmare because from the point of view of the third party, there's only downside to them on a traditional TPCRM assessment. They already have set their price. Any homework they get comes straight out of their margins. And if they do everything right, they don't gain anything. Whereas here, you can plausibly say you're being helped, not audited. Did you ever see someone enjoy being audited? We have third parties, and you know this, that are fans of our product.
Yeah.
They come on our events. They do testimonials. Our NPS score among third parties is 88.
Wow.
Like the average for SaaS enterprise products is 31.
And that's not what people would have expected at all.
At all.
Right? That was, you would assume friction, you would assume pushback, and that's, I think, why other companies haven't tried this approach.
Right.
But, I mean, not only do we not have a lot of other approaches to try for, you've shown that's not true.
Exactly. And it's easier to continue to do things the way they've always been done. Sending a questionnaire takes very little effort, but it's super manual labor on both ends.
Yeah.
Looking at a security score that is based on very limited, very infrequently updated data that is not even covering the most important security disciplines. Again, people are fooling themselves into thinking, or maybe trying to fool the regulators into saying, I'm doing something, right?
Yeah.
But now there's another option. Again, I don't think that what we're doing maybe applies to all of the thousands of third parties that a large bank or large insurance company does, but maybe look at the top 100
Exactly.
on your risk matrix, and let's
it's
start
more
there.
manageable.
Yeah, let's start
Excellent.
there.
Good stuff, Alex. Thank you so much for joining me today on Security Weekly. To learn more about Tenchi, you can go to securityweekly.com/Tenchi RSAC. And for more RSA conference, you can go to securityweekly.com/RSAC. Stick around. We've got more coming in a little bit.
Thank you.
Thank you.